Hi, my name is Kevin Taylor. I would like to ask, how independent are our courts? This is With All Due Respect. With all due respect, so it's a fact that the Chief Justice, Madam Sufai Akufo, will be going on retirement very soon. And also, the Ghana Bar Association will be having a conference this week. It's part of the reason why I have decided to speak on our justice system and respectively or specifically our court system to help both the Chief Justice and the Bar reflect on their behavior and specifically the discouraging behavior of the Chief Justice, Madam Sufai Akufo, before she retires. I would like to start by saying that the President, Akufo-Addo, has captured the judiciary. I will state this again. The President, Akufo-Addo, has captured the judiciary. It's very clear there is no judicial independence in Ghana today. President Akufo-Addo deliberately making his cousins heads of our judicial system says a lot about how he intends to use his family members to cover up his unacceptable deeds to frustrate and victimize the same citizens who gave him the power he's abusing today. My fellow Ghanaians, these are facts. The Chief Justice, Sufai Akufo, who is a cousin to the President, Akufo-Addo, worked at Akufo-Addo's law firm for years, so as the Attorney General, Gloria Akufo, who is also a cousin to the President. Now, why have I decided to speak about the Chief Justice and also about our judicial system today? It is because of the actions of our courts and specifically the unprofessional actions of the Chief Justice, Madam Sufai Akufo. We are all witnesses to how the court, under the supervision and direction of the Chief Justice, is handling the banking cases between the people. When I say the people, the investors, the bankers, and the Bank of Ghana or the government of Ghana. I can talk about the case between Akyem Mafia, Unibank or Unicredit and the Bank of Ghana. The case between Alhaji Seydou Agongoro Heritage Bank and the Bank of Ghana. We can also talk about Papa Kwesi Indium's GN Bank and the Bank of Ghana. This and many more. It is believed and somehow it's a fact that the various courts controlled by the Chief Justice, Madam Sufai Akufo, are suppressing all these Ghanaian investors all because Sufai Akufo, who is also the cousin to the President Akufo, feels these Ghanaian-born entrepreneurs like Kobnado for Alhaji Seydou Agongo and Papa Kwesi Indium have plans of supporting his cousin, the President's political opponents. So the best thing to do is to frustrate them through the courts and also shut down their businesses. But I'd like to ask a simple question. Who suffers at the end of the day? Yes, who suffers at the end of the day? Now, this is where I would like someone like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to listen carefully because he's always making noise like a World War II radio, distracting and distorting the airwaves. Listen here. The university students who worked at any of these banks and now jobless has become one of the statistics of unemployment. Yes, those university students have become a burden on their parents and also a burden on this country. Even the SHS students who worked at these local banks like GN Bank as agents, they have also lost their jobs. And these people have also become a burden on Ghanaians. They have become burden on their parents too. And you have to understand that this government promised these SHS students parents jobs. And those jobs have not been fulfilled. Those jobs have not been provided. So at the end of the day, there's a cycle here. They are all going back to be a burden on their parents and on the society. We don't have to forget about the very young kids who fall out of the bracket of the free SHS. These kids were dependent on their senior brothers and sisters who worked at these banks. Today, all these kids will drop out of school and they will not have decent shelter. This is what we call rippling effect. Simple. The rippling effect. When you fire one person, you fire 10 people. This is basic economics. You don't need a PhD holder without any hair to come and spill any nonsense for you to think they are making sense. It is simple. You fire 2 people, you put 10 people in hardship. With all due respect, so when a Chief Justice, who is supposed to know better and make sure the laws applies equally and fairly irrespective of the person before the law decides to use her office to favor her cousin, who is the President, Akufo-Addo, whose government out of ignorance, took a lazy approach in solving a simple banking crisis, then we should know we have a problem. I know and I believe an ignorant foot soldier will say, what has this government done and what has the Chief Justice done? Let me explain to you, you empty head. Now, let's take the UniCredit court case against Bank of Ghana as the first example. How can the Chief Justice instruct the judge hearing this case since August 2019 be transferred when he's close in calling a judgment? I'm talking about Judge Akpodapi. This judge was transferred, surprisingly, was transferred to the Volta region. The Chief Justice Ofori-Atta Akufo then hands over the case to another judge by name George Kingsley Kumsin. Is this not worrying and questionable? We can also take the case of Alhaji Seydou Agongo's Heritage Bank as another example to prove that Justice Ofori-Atta Akufo is doing the bid for her cousin, the President Akufo-Addo. How can the asset of Seydou Agongo's Heritage Bank be auctioned off whilst the case connected to Seydou Agongo and the Heritage Bank is still being heard in court today? Who does this? With all due respect, if this is not victimization, then I'll say this is witchcraft. We can't talk about all these manipulations and ignore Parkwesi Indium's GN Bank and how till date, yes, till date, the Bank of Ghana has not been able to prove in court that they have the right or they had the right to shut down GN Bank. These and many more issues are coming up and we have to be worried. So my fellow Ghanaians, I ask, is this how a Chief Justice is supposed to conduct affairs? With all due respect, now I'm going to list the deliberate, yes, the deliberate and well-planned actions the Chief Justice has taken to protect her cousin, the President's government. The Chief Justice Ofori-Atta Akufo has taken some serious decisions which will in the future come back to destroy this nation. At a point, some of her decisions forced the National Security Boss, Kandapa, to tell the Jubilee House that the actions and steps of the Chief Justice was a national security threat. But as usual, the Chief Justice's cousin, the President, brushed it away. We have to understand that from the time Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo became President and Ofori-Atta Akufo became the Chief Justice, this administration has not lost any case in the Supreme Court. Yes. Curiously, two of the judges who were on the questionable committee set up to investigate the petition for the removal of Mrs. Charlotte Osei, the former electoral commissioner, have been promoted from the appeals court to the Supreme Court. I am talking of Justice Samuel Mafia and Agnes Dodzi. Ordinarily, there shouldn't be any issue with such promotions. Subsequently, decisions by the Supreme Court where these two are involved have tended to confirm the position of the Attorney General, who is also the cousin of the President. These two judges, I mean Judge Dodzi and Judge Sow, were part of the judges who ruled in favor of this government to create the new region, which was one of the key campaign promise of Akufo-Addo. Now, isn't this shocking and surprising how criminal trial of former board members of NCA was assigned to Justice Eric Che-Balfour at the Commercial Court? How come a purely criminal case bypassed all judges in the criminal division of the High Court and the two judges in the Financial Crime Division and landed in the Commercial Court? Isn't this surprising? Anyone who knows Justice Eric Che-Balfour knows his affiliation with the NPP. In a surprising turn of events, the Attorney General, Gloria Ekufo, has nominated Eric Che-Balfour, Samuel Asiedu, and Anthony Opon for considerations as Court of Appeal Justices. Now, I would like to ask, it's a simple question. Is it a case of using promotions to influence these judges? It's just a question. We can't also forget the trial involving the venture capital former MD and how the case ended up with Justice Anthony Opon in the Lands Court. It's also bypassed all the criminal court judges. The Cocoa Board case, yes, the Cocoa Board case involving Dr. Stephen Opuni and Alhaji Seydou Agongo was also assigned to a Court of Appeal Justice, Justice C.J. Honyega, with additional responsibility at the High Court. We can't also forget the SNIT OBS case to another Court of Appeal Justice, Justice Kofi. What I'm seeing here, my fellow Ghanaians, proves one thing. The Chief Justice and Attorney General indirectly telling these judges, we have promoted you, so do your part to also make us proud. With all due respect, my fellow Ghanaians, you don't need a PhD holder to tell you that the President badly needs judicial endorsement to defend and justify the unprecedented corruption he is failing to handle in his government today. The judiciary, as a coordinate arm of government established by the Constitution, is not above public scrutiny and criticism. The judiciary under Chief Justice Ofori-Atta Akufo appears hijacked by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his family. The Ghana Bar Association are quiet because the Bar Council is made up of persons who have taken appointment under Akufo-Addo. We are in dangerous times, my fellow Ghanaians. This is the last Bar Conference to be attended by the Chief Justice, Ofori-Atta Akufo. And I would like to ask Ghana Bar Association, what message do you people have for the Chief Justice? Are you people going to bow down to her and pat her on the back and tell her she did a great job, whilst you people know for a fact that she has submerged justice to save his cousin's political ambition. I pray, as the Bar Association meets this week, one person, one lawyer will be bold enough to read the judicial oath of office to the Chief Justice for her to reflect as she plans to exit. If no one, or if no lawyer is bold enough to do that or read to the Chief Justice, I will take the opportunity today to read it to her. Madam Sufaya Akufo, this is the oath you took when your cousin, the President, Akufo-Addo, swore you into office as the Chief Justice of this great nation. And I'll read it to you. This is what you said. The judicial oath, and I quote, I, Sufaya Abena Boafua Akufo, having been appointed Chief Justice, a Justice of the Supreme Court, a Justice of the Court of Appeal, a Justice of the High Court of Justice, and etc., do, in the name of the Almighty God, swear, solemnly affirm that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of the Republic of Ghana, and that I will truly and faithfully perform the functions of my office without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that I will all times uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the Republic of Ghana. So help me God. Madam Sufaya Akufo, the Chief Justice of Ghana, this is your oath. And I would like to ask you a simple question. Have you lived up to this? Finally, with all due respect, Madam, I am not God to judge you. I'm just an ordinary Ghanaian who can only point out your shortcomings. Now that you are leaving office, I hope you will let your exit be an honest and genuine one that will go a long way to protect your hard-earned reputation. My fellow Ghanaians, finally, before I end this episode, I would like to tell you people that look forward to some revelations on the replacement for Chief Justice Sufaya Akufo. The war between Justice Dote, Justice Enin Yabua, and the newcomer, Nana Addo. My fellow Ghanaians, we need to keep a close watch on this war. This is just the beginning. Let's make sure that we speak truth to power, no matter who is in charge. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kevin Ekobedi Taylor, and this is With All Due Respect.